If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
Hi, I'm Mike Arce, and I've spent most of my career in the fitness industry and helping those in it succeed. And after helping over 2,000 studios and 50 different franchises within the industry, I've learned a lot about what it takes to be successful. Here, I'll teach your studio how to advertise, how to sell, retain more members, increase profits, and become an overall better business owner in the space. And I share it all with you here. Welcome to the GSD Show. What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Arce, and welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. And today, this is going to be a fun episode. This is different than what we typically do. I've got the director of marketing for my agency here at Loud Rumor. We've got nearly 50 employees now, and we have a department of, how many people do you lead, Patrick?
8 people.
8 people. And Patrick leads that team as the director of marketing here at Loud Rumor. And so we're doing really well. We've grown quite a bit over the last few years. In particularly the last 6 to 8 months, there's been a lot of growth. And Patrick's had a big part of that. And so I wanted to have you on the show so we can share with the audience what a marketing director for a marketing company actually knows and does and manages on a daily basis. For everyone listening, as fitness studio owners, just understanding marketing is extremely important. You know, if you think of the most successful CEOs, whether it's Steve Jobs, who definitely knew marketing, Richard Branson, who definitely knew marketing, Henry Ford, who definitely knows marketing, right? All these guys, they have a really good pulse on marketing and how things work. Elon Musk has been, known now as a just incredible marketer. So if you think a CEO doesn't have to know marketing, that's killing you. So you really want to know a lot about it, and then you want to build your team. And Patrick's the guy leading that particular team. So Patrick, welcome to the GSD Show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for signing my checks.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And thanks for being here in general. The company's definitely been better with you in it, 100%. Yeah. You started out here about 3 years ago?
Come up on 3 years.
Come up on 3 years ago, and since then you flourished and built a team around you, and it's been great watching you grow. So what I want to talk to you about today is your process and how you look at marketing, how you determine if a marketing campaign is winning or losing, because a lot of people have a bad understanding as to if you're winning or losing.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the main goals that you have here, and then also some FTC stuff, like what we can do, what we can't do, because a lot of people don't realize this either. There's things that you say in advertising that get you in real trouble.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Is that good?
Sounds good.
All right. So you said you got a team of 8 people.
Yep.
And so talk to me about the team that you've built. What are the positions on the team?
Yep. So we have a digital strategist. He manages all of our ad campaigns here at Loud Rumor, marketing for our company to fitness studio owners, trying to bring them on board. We have a graphic designer. She does all of the the graphic design for the company, and we also have our content manager. So he's writing all the blogs, all the content for the company. And then of course we have McKenna over here. She's our senior video producer, and she leads a team of 3 video producers on her end. And I mean, you're the face of all this content, so we're putting out a lot of video content. So that's what that team does over there.
Great. So you've helped promote this show quite a bit. So now you're on the inside of the show.
It's crazy.
How's it feel?
It's weird.
Good. Well, now you're going to have to help with McKenna in editing your own stuff, which is...
She's going to have a lot of work to do.
All right. So you got a digital strategist. You got Sean. He does the copywriting. Those 2 alone are super important. How do they work together, and why is it important that you have both somebody that can write good copy? What's the importance of copy, and then also somebody to run ads?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're 2 very different things, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'm going to want that creative person writing my ad copy and, hitting on the emotional elements of what it takes to bring someone into a marketing funnel and take them along all those different steps. And I want someone who's really looking at the numbers and measuring all the data and looking at the KPIs and making sure that the campaign's working. And those guys work really closely together. And
we've hired some good people. You mentioned KPIs. For everyone that's listening that doesn't know what KPIs are, break that down.
Yeah, so KPI is a key performance indicator. It's pretty much the benchmarks of the data you want to look at to see if you're successful in your ad campaign.
Okay, cool. So can you give me an example? What are some KPIs that you look at to determine if this department is going to be winning and hitting goal this month?
Yeah, absolutely. So number 1 is going to be leads, right? Okay. How many leads are coming in, what our cost per lead is, what our click-through rates are on our ads, what our link click-through rates are on
What's the difference between click-through rate and link click-through rate?
Yeah, so click-through rate is just people that are, whether they're hitting the like button or they're commenting or they're hitting the the actual link to learn more about the campaign. And then click-through rate is the people that are actually clicking on that learn more button to go to your landing page.
Got it. So click-through rate is just any type of click on the ad.
Yeah.
Right, got it. Okay, cool. So you got leads, cost per lead, click-through rate, link click-through rate. What else do you look at?
Yeah, so you want to see what the impressions are on your ads. How many people are your ads are getting out to is certainly definitely important. And then if you're running video ads, you want to see how long those people are actually watching, how engaged they are with those videos, and that will give you a good idea how well the video is performing. If they're watching more than 10%, 25%, 50%, 75%, give you a good.
And you get all that data from
absolutely.
Facebook and Instagram and all that.
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Now, is leads the most important thing?
I mean, leads are what pay the bills, right? So, in my opinion, I would say leads are the most important things at the end of the day.
At the end of the day,
yep.
So here's where I wanted to really just make sure everyone's aware, because this is important not just for the conversations you and I have, but for all the fitness studios as well. At the end of the day, the goal of your ad campaign is definitely to drive leads, right? Which is why Patrick said what he said. Like, we want to drive in leads. However, there's direct avenues to drive your leads, and then there's indirect avenues to drive your leads. So for example, if I have an ad out for a free offer, right? Takes you to a landing page or a lead form on Facebook, and then they fill out the form. Great, we got a lead. That was a lead campaign. It was for conversions. That was it. That was the entire goal. However, when we do stuff like this show, it's a little different, right? It's more indirect.
Yep.
How many calls would you say, like what percentage would you say that when we get calls, they're people that didn't necessarily click on an ad and fill out the form, they were people that have already known about us through all the other areas?
I mean, tons.
Yeah.
It's hard to put a percentage on, but I would say tons, and that's the best part about running advertising is you'll see, if you're running successful advertising, you're going to see obviously, the results from the campaign, but on the organic side, you're going to get more calls in, you're going to get more text messages. I mean, the organic stuff is just going to go up because you're running good advertising. A lot of times what happens is, especially if you're running to cold audiences, they don't necessarily know who you are, so they might not, come through your ad campaign. They might just go to Google, search your name, and then you're going to see that increase as well.
Right. And so when we have, ROI, which is, return on investment, that's something that you and I have had conversations about. We see it the way marketers see it, not the way the average small business owner sees it. So return on investment, for everyone listening that doesn't know it, it's, hey, if I invest $1 and I make $3 back, I made $2 on my investment, right? That $2 is my return on investment, which is great. That's a good ROI.
Hey, hold on. I know this episode's really good and you want to get back to it, but before we do, it's important you help me with something. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this show so that we can get more and more people to hear about it like you do. All right, thanks. Back to the episode.
But one of the things we talk about is the ROI. It doesn't matter what the multiple is, like 5x, 10x, 10, 8x, whatever. I think that the difference is, and we've talked about this, it's the size of the investment.
Yep.
Right? So, for example, if you do a $500 ad campaign, right? I'm going to spend $500 on ads. And you're going to probably want a 10x return on investment in order to even feel like your company's any different at all, right? Because that $500 made you $5,000, which is great. But if you invested $10,000, do you really need to have a 10x return, or would you be happy with a 3x return or a 2x return because now you made 20 grand? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so for everyone listening as well, we've got people on the show. You guys are big fans of Matt Kafora. We all know Matt really well. You guys go back and forth as to who the tank is here at the office.
He's the second biggest guy now.
So with Matt, we talked about this where he doesn't care about the multiple.
No.
He'll take a 2x ROI or a 3x ROI. He'll just spend more money.
If I'm making my money, if I'm making my money back, meaning I'm breaking even, all day.
Why? Tell me why. Because I agree with that, but I want to know why breaking even on a marketing campaign makes sense.
It's free advertising.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend any money.
See, there's two ways to look at everything, right?
Yeah.
Somebody could look at, I spend money and I got nothing out of that. Or you can look at it as, dude, did I just get advertising for free and get in front of everyone?
$0. If you broke even, spent $1,000 and you made $1,000, but you got in front of 1,000 people.
Right.
Yeah.
Cost you nothing.
Cost you nothing.
And over time, that builds, right? Because those people have seen you, whether they've opted in or bought or nothing. You've definitely built out more awareness with more and more people as
Yep.
you go. And if you're in a recurring business model like a lot of fitness studios are,
Yep.
you're going to continue getting the compound returns over time
Yep.
as you keep your members longer,
Yep.
right? Your ability to do that.
There's a great book. It's called The No BS Direct Marketing by Dan Kennedy, and I think
Okay.
every fitness studio owner should read that book.
Really?
And it really tell you the importance of advertising in your we call it 5 mile radius, but your local market. It's a great book, and if you go through that book and you still think that advertising is not a solution for you, then you need to sell your business.
Really? What's the biggest takeaway like a fitness studio would get in that book?
Just the importance of advertising, actually how to do it within your local market. It's for brick and mortar stores, but it can be applied to a fitness studio, which is a brick and mortar, and it teaches them the strategies, the offers. It's pretty similar to the playbook that we run here at Loud Room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
for
pretty
our
cool.
clients. Yeah.
So what's the name of the book again?
No BS Direct Marketing by Dan Kennedy.
Awesome. And so all these metrics, these KPIs that you use, just so everyone knows, we've actually we have like a list of all these KPIs, and we'll buy the domain right after this show right after the show's over. I checked on GoDaddy first to make sure it was available. It is. So by the time this show's edited in front of you guys, go to GSDKPI.com and we'll give you a list of the KPIs for free. All you got to do is just go to that page, and then that's it. We'll get you all the KPIs. So all the different things that you should be measuring, either your internal employees that are doing the marketing for you, or the agency that you've decided to employ. Whatever it is, these are just really, really good metrics. So you built out that list and have some definitions around it and examples. So that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So not only will give them the KPIs that they should be tracking, but industry benchmarks for fitness studios, so they can give a good idea of where they stand.
That's awesome. Okay, so GSDKPI.com. Go there, get your free list there. So we talked about FTC laws, which
I sent you something this morning.
you did send me something this morning, and so we're not going to get into the whole back end of how crazy it is, but it gets crazy. And so what is FTC? And give me an example of some laws, some red flags, if you will, of like how either A, your company is doing some wrong stuff in marketing, or B, the agency that you hired is doing some wrong stuff in marketing.
Yeah, so to be honest, I don't know what FTC stands for. Federal Trade Commission? Yeah, okay. That seems like stock trading to me, but regardless. Okay, so apparently if you want to be FTC compliant, you can't make claims that you can't back up.
Okay.
By
substantial evidence.
Yes, that's what the FTC is looking for. So if I was to say something along the lines of,
we helped someone lose 100 pounds in 3 months.
Yeah. If you can't back up that claim, then the FTC can technically come after you for making false claims.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting too is, what if you really did get somebody to lose 100 pounds in 3 months, right? There's a couple things you have to understand. One is the substantial proof. We'll go into that real quick. And then two is the outlier understanding of it. So let's say you did help someone lose 100 pounds in 90 days. You have to be able to provide substantial evidence that it was your program and your program alone that did that.
Yep.
So you would have to prove that they've been eating the same way they've been eating, unless you actually wrote out their exact diet program, that they've been supplementing the way they've been supplementing, unless you wrote out that program. Basically, you have to prove that you're injecting you into their life is the only reason that they lost 100 pounds in 90 days. Otherwise, you can't make a claim for that. So that's number one, which of course, that's hard to track, because when somebody joins a gym or a fitness studio, they go all in. They go buy new clothes, they go get new food, they start eating healthier. And so if you don't provide that nutritional advice and they go and just start eating a lot healthier, and you can't prove that they haven't adjusted their diet, that actually can go against it's false advertising. If FTC will see it that way. It kind of sucks, but it's true. The next thing is the outliers. So we all use outlier testimonials, of course, right? Like if you've got 100 members using easy numbers, and 5 of them said, "You've changed my life. I've lost 50 pounds in the last 6 months. My life's amazing." You have to be able to prove substantially that result is what typically can be expected by anyone joining that studio. And if not, then you have to use disclosures. And even then, it may not even be good enough, right?
Results may vary, and the crazy part about it is, when you see like, advertising on, commercials, like the little subtext that you can barely read and no one reads it anyways. that's technically not FTC compliant. Like, you have to put it up, and it has to match the size of whatever your advertising is, and it has to say results may vary.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And you have to do visual and audible depending on how much of an outlier it is.
Yeah.
So when you watch some of those advertisements on TV, and all of a sudden it's like they got this amazing pill that'll help you immediately, you know, feel more energized, and they go, you know, sexual performance may decline, you know, and they're like, you know, you may get tired, you may vomit daily, and it's like, you're like, whoa, what?
This doesn't sound great.
This sounded good until all this stuff, but they have to do
Yeah.
that because that technically is the other side of the outlier.
Yeah.
So this is important because there's a lot of agencies that are not FTC compliant.
Yep.
And so the way I like to explain to some fitness studios when I see them working with this, you know, they just popped up out of nowhere, this agency that just knows how to run Facebook ads, but they don't really understand the laws of marketing and advertising. They can cost you a ton of money in legal fees if they're running ads or even saying even just one thing in your ad that can totally like get you hit with the FTC. And those fines are not small.
No, they start around 15,000, if not more. And the crazy thing about it is a lot of, you know, agencies or whoever, they think, you know, we're too small, the FTC is not going to come after us. And that's the crazy part. It's not necessarily the FTC that's coming after them. It's these lawyers who just want to make a buck that are going after companies that know that aren't following FTC compliant, and those are the guys that are going after, and then they notify the FTC. So it's lawyers wanting to make money, you know, a quick buck.
They create a problem to provide a solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So look at it this way, guys. When you hire a professional anything, if you're hiring a lawyer, you're expecting that lawyer to know the laws.
Yeah.
If you hire a CPA, you're expecting that CPA to know the laws. If you're hiring a real estate agent, you're expecting that agent or that mortgage broker to know the laws. There's no difference with advertising. You need to be sure that that ad agency knows the laws and is FTC compliant. So one example is just ask them, hey, give me some examples of FTC laws that we need to be aware of.
Yep.
If they don't even know what you're talking about, or if it sounds like they're going in circles, you're probably not working with an agency that either A, cares, or B, knows that that's something they should be caring about.
Exactly.
The way I look at it is, man, because you see a lot of these agencies aren't even FTC compliant. They're like, how we've done this and how we've grown this, and it's just like, okay, well, hold on. That's not exactly FTC compliant.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it for your own agency, what would you do for this random fitness studio down in Pennsylvania? Like, how much do you really care?
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, to kind of give people the benefit of the doubt is that a lot of times, like you said, they don't know. And, you know, at some point we didn't know either. But the point that we did know, we took all that stuff down and we became FTC compliant. So.
Yeah, it's good. FTC, all that can be effective not just in marketing, but even stuff you say in sales as well. I actually had a conversation with someone yesterday, and they were saying that they're looking at this one ad agency they really like because they've got a Facebook liaison in-house that is able to work directly with Facebook to learn about new algorithm changes as they come up so that our agency can be ahead of the algorithm updates as they occur. That's such a lie. That's such a crazy lie.
Yeah.
Because an algorithm update is made in order to improve the performance and more fair things that are going on in advertising. There's even C-level employees at Facebook that don't get told what the algorithm updates are. Forget the little random guys, right? So that's just a cool thing to say. We've got a Facebook liaison, but really all that means is you've got a guy that probably worked at Facebook or somehow connected with you. So if, let's say, your ad budget or your account was shut down for the day, he can help you figure out how to resolve it, but you're not getting the algorithm inside info as an account rep.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times these liaisons are third-party contractors by, you know, Facebook, and you're going to tell me a third-party contractor knows
what the algorithm is.
Yeah, exactly. So.
But here's the thing, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't know advertising, this is why it's important as CEOs to understand marketing at some level, right? If you don't understand these things, you're going to just believe whatever that advertiser's telling you, thinking that's got to be the truth. Just like when you talk to a CPA and they tell you, hey, these are loopholes for, you know, taxes. Here's how we can help you, you know, save some taxes this year. Yeah. And you just kind of trust it. But a lot of agencies in the advertising world, they don't know the laws. They just know how to run some ads, right? Know how to push some buttons. Okay, let's go back. You've done a really good job building your team, and you know, this is really important too, because I've had multiple people on your team say that you're like the best leader they've worked for. And so I think people that are listening in could not only get a lot from you on the marketing side, but also on the leadership side. So what is it that, how do you measure your people? What do you expect out of them, and how do you hold them accountable?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Thanks, McKenna, because she said that before. And
She was one of them.
She was one of them, and I really appreciate it. To be honest, I'm pretty hands off, if I'm going to be honest with you. I let people, I give them their space, let them do their work, but I set those expectations, and they really know what I expect out of them. At the end of the day, and we have goals as a team, and I'm always checking weekly to make sure we're on pace to hit those goals, and the team knows where they're at with their goals. And I do that. I got this from a former boss of mine. He was a CMO at a company, and it's a weekly check-in, and it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to do. It's a quick email that you send over to everyone on the team, and it includes a couple of things. It's the first thing is a win, and I have them do this on Fridays, so just kind of recap and reflect on the week, and I think that's something that's helped them, be a little bit more present and reflect on what's going on that week and looking into next week too. But the first thing is a win that drove the company forward. So something that moved the needle in terms of our goals. And I tell these guys, like, hey, you don't need to give me BS, right? Like, if you don't have a win that week, that's completely fine. This is a process, what we're trying to do in terms of achieving our goals. In that process, there's going to be times where you're not winning. But when you are winning, I want the team to know about it. So that's the first thing. The second thing I have them do is kind of reflect on something that they can improve upon. And then I have them give an action plan behind, getting better at whatever it may be, whether that's communication or organization. And again, it just kind of, that's something that really does hold them accountable, I believe. And then the next thing I have them do is just report their numbers. So each individual on the team has certain numbers that they need to report. And what's great about it is because, especially managing creative people, they don't look at the numbers, which, I get it. At the end of the day, they're creative people and they need to be focused on creative things. But when you start looking at the data, you kind of, you're able to make those decisions on, what you need to do. And I'll give you an example. So, McKenna, she's the senior video producer. She's a very creative person. I started challenging her to look at her numbers and where we can improve on the podcasts. And we've seen an increase of downloads and then YouTube subscribers. And every single week she's coming back to me with ideas on, what we can do to improve, the video team. But it's all based on the data. So that's absolutely awesome. And then the last thing I have them do is just reflect on the week, what they worked on. So, a lot of times, especially as you grow as a group, you can get that dynamic of, what's this guy doing, or what's this guy doing, or what's this girl doing. But that doesn't happen in my team because they all know what each other are working on. And then the last thing I have them do is just look forward into the next week and see what some potential hurdles are. So whether you have a bunch of meetings going on or whatever it may be. So a lot of times we shut the door on work on Friday, and then on Monday we open it back up, and it's like, oh shit, like I got to do all this stuff, and
Right.
it just allows them going into the weekend before they shut that door to really put that front of mind as they head into the following week. And I think that's something that really helped the team really get on the same page and develop a really good culture.
Yeah, I agree. And your department has a great culture, which I love. So let's dive back into the marketing here. A focus of Loud Rumor is building a list.
Yep.
Why is it important for any company that doesn't want to have lulls in growth? Why is it important for them to build a list?
I think it's super important to build a list, and it really depends on what you want to do, but a list is so valuable.
And I didn't define this for people. What are some examples of lists, different lists?
So your email list, your remarketing list, your contact list,
Messenger list.
messenger list, anything that has a first name, last name, phone number, and email. The more that you can build upon that, the more valuable you become as an organization because you have a list of contacts that you can market to.
So right now, Facebook and Instagram are doing well. YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. They're all doing well for the small business owner in advertising. Yep. So let's say you don't have a list, and all of a sudden, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube go through what we've seen happen with Google, with SEO, and AdWords in the past. Those of you guys that have been in business and advertising since 2010, you know what I'm talking about, how SEO went through 3 major algorithm updates that really crushed a lot of people that were ranking well, and then how AdWords used to be able to get 10 cents per clicks, and now you're looking at $8, $12 cost per click in the industry, sometimes $16 depending on how niche it is. So again, you can't afford, that's per click, not per lead, right? So you get to the point where it runs you out. And so anybody knows, why does Facebook continue and Google, why do they continue to increase their pricing? The main reason is the same reason you would increase your pricing, right? Not only because it helps you be more profitable, but if you had an $8 service, right? I got a membership for $8. Not only are you not going to be profitable, what type of members are you going to attract?
Not the right ones.
If you have a $200 a month service, a little different, right?
Yeah, committed.
More committed,
Yep.
right? So what they've noticed, the same thing. The big advertisers, the ones that are spending a good amount of money every month, those people aren't the pain in the butts.
Yep.
Because they understand marketing the way it is. Like, I just want to be omnipresent. I
Yep.
want to be everywhere all the time. The value in that alone is great. Even if I end up not having an ROI on this, I don't care because I got everywhere every time. And now I can start getting indirect leads like what we talked about, where people just know who we are. The small advertisers, they need to see a return on every dollar they spend, right? Or they freak out. And so they start calling Facebook, they start messaging, how come this isn't working?
Yeah.
So the majority, 80% plus of their customer calls and customer service calls are from the small advertisers.
Yeah.
So the philosophy is if we just raise the pricing so much that they don't even play here, then we can reduce our customer service time, right? And all the expense that come along with that. So you're gonna have to deal with that. So with Google AdWords, they shut down a lot of business owners because the price went too high, right?
Yep.
And you couldn't afford it. Facebook's now starting to climb. If all of a sudden Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those shut down today, not necessarily shut down, but got too expensive where you can't even advertise, what does that happen if you don't have a list versus if you do have a list?
Well, if you don't have a list, you don't have anyone to market to.
And so what happens? You're done.
Yeah, hopefully not, but there's definitely ways to help build your list. But if you don't have a list to market to, that's tough at the end of the day.
Yeah. If you do have a list,
yeah, there's a marketing campaign you can set up through your list.
emails, right?
Yep.
And not only that, if one thing goes, like when SEO went, AdWords was a solution. When AdWords went, Facebook was a solution. Facebook got a little expensive, Instagram came in, YouTube came in, right? So there should always be the next thing ready to go. And so can you upload an email list to any of these platforms and start running ads to them?
100%.
Can you run a lookalike audience to them and explain what that is?
Yeah, so basically, so Facebook would take this lookalike audience and look at their profile and see similarities and then build a list based on those similarities.
Right.
Yep.
So if you guys have an email list, it allows you to continue marketing to people for free. So there's three types of traffic. There's traffic that you pay for, right? Paid ads.
Yep.
Traffic that you buy. There's traffic that you earn, right? So you're here, but like when we have a guest come on the show, that guest earned awareness through the show. He didn't pay for it, but he earned it through time, right? And then there's traffic that you own, which ultimately you want to be able to get both earned and paid traffic to become traffic that you own. So if I pay to get in front of you, I want to find a way, anyway, to get you to opt in and get onto my list.
Yep.
If I earned my way, like when you dropped GSD KPI.com, that's great, but like if you were not part of Loud Rumor and you were looking to build your list, you could do that and that helped you build your list, right?
Yeah.
And so now you earned that list. And the idea is, okay, now I earned some lists, I paid for some lists, now I own them, meaning now I can continue to advertise to them for free through email campaigns, broadcast emails, uploading them to YouTube, right? Because you do the same thing there. So there's so many different things you could be doing from that point. So make sure that you guys are constantly focused on building a list. Yeah, is it great to always have ads where you're telling people to opt in for a free offer, like a free week or a free session? Yes. But it's also pretty valuable to be able to offer like 10 foods to help boost metabolism, right? And then run that to 5 people in the area. And then, now you're building that list up. But on the thank you page, you can always make an offer for a free session. Come and work out.
And, there's other things that fitness studios can do as well as like, partnerships in their local market, like go to a chiropractor or if you're a HIIT studio, go to massage and say, hey, let's work together. Can we share each other's list? And there's other ways to build it outside of just running paid traffic. So
100%, 100%. If you guys haven't read the book, The Pumpkin Plan, that book talks a lot about that. The author's Mike Michalowicz. And if you go back a few episodes, McKenna will put up on the screen for you if you're watching. If you go back a few episodes, you'll actually see I interviewed the author, Mike Michalowicz, on The Pumpkin Plan. He explains how to be able to build those relationships so you can start earning some lists through the community as well.
Yeah.
Patrick, man, you've done a lot of really cool stuff. And it's been great watching what you've done with the marketing team. Loud Rumor is definitely everywhere all the time now, which is great. So you guys know it's the best feeling in the world. About 2 years ago, if we got 10 calls in, maybe 1 or 2 of them knew who we were. Today, if we get 10 phone calls in, it seems like every single one of them knows who either GSD show is, Loud Rumor is, or who I am, and that makes the sale so much easier. I mean, imagine if somebody called into your fitness studio and you say, how'd you hear about us? And they say, oh, I've been following you guys. How easy is it to convert that person to a member versus the person who goes, I don't really know, I think I saw you on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right? It's very different. Or like you've seen when you go out with me to conferences, like people come up, they know who I am. Same thing with you. Imagine if you're running ads to this 5 mile radius so much in so many places that you go into the Whole Foods near your studio, and 2 people come up to you and they go, hey, I literally have seen you on Facebook and YouTube a bunch of times.
Yeah.
How much easier is to go, really, are you a member of our studio? No. Why not? I don't know, I haven't gotten to time. How about this? Come free week on me.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they know you. They seen your face.
Yeah.
It's so cool, right, for them. And so it's so much easier to get that traffic in. So getting awareness, being known is so valuable, and not being known is so costly.
Yeah. Being known, not being known, building that list.
Right,
That's important.
100%. Patrick, man, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to add at all to what we talked about today to help a fitness studio be more successful?
No, I thank you for having me. I appreciate having me on. And everyone go to gsdkpi.com, and not only we give you those benchmarks, those KPIs, but the where you should be at in terms of the fitness studios we're working with. So
perfect. And if you did want to learn more about LRVT, which is the program that you built, it's Loud Rumor Virtual Training. It teaches you how to do not just the marketing, but the sales and everything. Go to whatislrvt.com. You can go there. Guys, if you liked the episode, like, comment, share. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, or YouTube. And to watch more episodes and get exclusive links from each episode, go to gsdshow.com. Again, that's gsdshow.com.